الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي العربي القرشي المكي المدني الهاشمي صاحب قاب قوسين محبوب رب المشرقين والمغربين جد الحسن والحسين النبي الحرمين والإمام القبلتين والرسول الثقلين الذين سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتخبين المنتجبين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين للتراب مقدمه الفداء واللعنة الدائمة الباقية على أعدائهم ومنكر فضائلهم وخاسب حقوقهم أجمعين أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه تبارك وتعالى في محكم كتابه ومتقن خطابه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون مساء صلوات على محمد وعلى محمد For the greatness or the honor of the souls of Shuhada of Karbala, recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. And to hasten the reappearance of our awaited Savior, recite a third loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. Wa ala Muhammad wa ajjal farajah. As you heard, we have been discussing the topic divine justice and divine leadership, and so far we mentioned regarding justice, the definition of justice, the necessity of justice, how everything in this universe is based on justice, and how therefore it's necessary for the divine to also be just. And we mentioned that one of the evidences or the proofs for the divine to be just is the fact that he has commanded his servants to be just, and he doesn't command his servants to do anything that is contrary to what he himself would do. So this verse of Holy Quran, a couple of days ago we mentioned the azars from Surah An-Nisa, which is the 4th surah of Holy Quran, and the verse number is 135. In that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we mentioned the first part of that verse, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to those who believe that, "O you who believe, establish justice, keeping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as your witness, even if it goes against yourself or your parents or your relatives." And we mentioned that this is the importance and significance of justice, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that even if it goes against yourself and your parents and your relatives, still you must establish justice by keeping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as your witness. For what reason? That's mentioned the second part of the verse. The second part of the verse says, "I'dilu," be just. Why? Huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa. If you are just, if you are fair, if you establish and practice justice in your life, huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa, that is closest or nearest to taqwa, to being conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Taqwa meaning what? Meaning that a person has in their life equal balance between hope and fear. Thank you so much. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Taqwa is a person has equal balance between hope and fear. Okay? Since this point has come, we'll just mention it briefly. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want a person to be so fearful that they lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You'll hear people say, for example, that I'm so far gone, I've done so many sins in my life that there's no chance that I could get forgiven. And then you'll meet a different kind of person, and that person will say that it doesn't matter, I can disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as I want because He is merciful. Both of these stances, both of these approaches are the tricks of shaitan. Either a person thinks that they could disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much and He would still be merciful. No, His mercy is also with conditions. On the other hand, there's a person who says that I've disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much that I'm so far gone that there's no chance that I can get forgiven. Both of these approaches are tricks of shaitan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, neither should you have so much hope that you have no fear of His punishment, nor should you have so much fear that you have no hope of forgiveness. And taqwa is that balance between hope and fear. So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me to be muttaqi and to acquire taqwa, so that I have this balance between hope and fear. That yes, I hope that I would get mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter, but I'm also fearful enough of His punishment to avoid disobeying Him. Right? To don't go towards disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He says, "I'dilu, be just. Huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa." That is nearest to taqwa. Wattaqullah, and establish taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then He gives a warning. He already knows everything that you do. He already knows. I can hide and pretend in front of the people. Right? I come in front of you and I can pretend and be whatever I like. But nobody knows themselves better than themselves and better than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. So I can pretend in front of everybody. But in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows my reality and I know my reality. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you want to know Him, you have to know yourself. Imam Husaynia says, Man arafa nafsa faqad arafa rabba. That is what it means. That if you know yourself, you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because either I know my reality or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. But we come back. Yesterday we mentioned that in every aspect of my life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me to establish justice. Where is the problem in my life? Where is the problem? We mentioned the hadith from Imam alayhi salam yesterday, that there's rights and there's responsibilities. And the problem or the injustice that I'm doing in my life is that I'm not fulfilling my responsibilities. I, first of all, have to acknowledge my responsibilities. Number one, that this is my responsibility. If I don't acknowledge my responsibilities, then how would I fulfill those responsibilities? So first of all, the first stage is that I have to acknowledge that I have some responsibilities in my life. I have responsibilities towards myself And I also have responsibilities towards other people in my life. And once I establish that, and I realize that these are my responsibilities, then I have to fulfill those responsibilities. And of course, the best thing about all of this, what's the best thing about this? The best thing about all of this is that fulfilling these responsibilities in my life, they're going to bring me benefit. Or they're going to protect me from harm. Right? If I fulfill these responsibilities or not, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not affected. The Prophet is not affected. Imam is not affected. Allah will be Allah. The Prophet will be the Prophet. The Imam will be the Imam. Anything that I do in my life, the benefit will come to me. Anything that I don't do, the harm would come to me. So not only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that as far as akhirat is concerned, as far as hereafter is concerned, this is going to help you. But even in this life, even in dunya, the benefit that's going to come from this, fulfilling this, is going to come to me. Any harm that I'm going to be protected from, it's going to benefit me. Any protection is my own and nobody else's. So we said that there has to be fulfillment of responsibility. Now, question. We said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put the rights with the responsibilities. He has not separated them. However, when it comes to other people, when it comes to relationship between other people, it may be that that other person in my life, whoever that person happens to be, whether it's my parents or my siblings or my relatives or other people, whoever they are around me in my life, it's possible that they don't fulfill their responsibility, so they don't give me my rights. Right? So, does that mean because they didn't fulfill their responsibilities or they didn't give me my rights, that I am also absolved of my responsibility towards them? Question. Right? Where do we get the answer? We get the answer from each one of our A'imma alayhi salatu salam in a very amazing way. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa alayhi. So if you want to look at, for example, the life of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala. And inshallah, in one of the coming nights, we'll talk about the justice of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. But today I just want to give you a little principle, and maybe from a different angle. And that is that Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, after the Holy Prophet of Islam, his right gets usurped. Right? And other people take up those positions. And they themselves prove that they are not worthy. How? Whenever a problem comes to them, a case comes to them, an issue comes to them, they don't have the answer. And they say, call Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. Right? Whenever there's a problem, they say, call Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. And he comes and he solves the problem. So we ask, Ya Ali, when you came and you solved the problem, why didn't you say that this right belongs to me? Please pay attention to this point. Ya Ali, why didn't you say that this right belongs to me? And if you give me back my rights, then I'll solve the problem. And in that scenario, that person would be forced to give back the rights because he needs the problem to be solved. If we ask Imam alayhi salam this question, if we were to ask, what would he reply? He would reply with the same reply that Imam Askari alayhi salam 200 years later gives. Which is what? Which is that rights are with responsibilities. But just because somebody didn't give you your rights doesn't absolve you of your responsibilities. He will say that just because people denied me my rights does not absolve me of my responsibilities. I am the Imam of the universe. Whether anybody accepts me or not, whether anybody gives me my rights or not, I am the Imam, appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to help people. If somebody comes with a question, if somebody comes with a problem, if somebody comes with a case, I have to resolve that matter because that's my responsibility to do so. That's my responsibility to do so. And I'm not, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me this right. So I will not belittle myself. I will not belittle myself to say that because you didn't give me my rights, I'm not going to answer your questions, or I'm not going to solve your questions or solve your problems. Why? Because that responsibility is on me from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am accountable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as to whether I helped people or not. So that means that even if the other person is not giving me my rights, then according to this seerat of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, if I'm a follower of his, okay, because if I say something, you'll say, who are you to advise us? So I'm nobody. But I'm telling you the seerat of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Now if I'm a follower of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, then I have to try to follow his practice. This is the connection between divine justice and divine leadership. That in order to enact divine justice on this earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent leaders. Because there's no other way to enact divine justice if you are not divine in the first place. Nobody else is able to enact that divine justice other than the one who's been appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enact that justice. So if I'm the follower of the Imam alayhi salam, then I have to know that this is the first point, that even if somebody doesn't fulfill their responsibilities towards me, even if somebody takes my rights away from me, I still have a responsibility to fulfill my responsibilities, irrespective. Why? Why? Because the matter is not between me and that person. The matter is between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as to whether I fulfilled my responsibilities or not. So here, many times people ask the question that, for example, my parents do not have good behavior to me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from such situations, but it happens. It's a reality. Like we said yesterday, there are things which happen which you might not like, but they're reality. So we have to talk about that. So let's say this person says to me that my parents are bad to me. Am I allowed to be bad to them? Answer from Imam Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam is that no, your responsibility will stay the same. Your responsibility doesn't change just because they are. Why? Because they're accountable for their own actions. So this is one. Then the other issue is what? Is that why is it that we're having problems in our society? We are having problems in our society For the main issue, everything that is a problem in our society comes back to the question or the issue of injustice. Every problem comes back to the issue of injustice. Somebody somewhere is not being given their rights, for as a result of which we are having problems in society. So in order to solve the problems, we have to come back to the main point, which is that there needs to be justice enacted in society. And where does that start from? If we want to see where does that start from, we come back to the beginning of the prophetic mission. The beginning of the prophetic mission is a part, the announcement of prophethood. You know, the whole Prophet of Islam is 40 years of age when he announced, not when he becomes the prophet, when he announces the prophethood, that I am the prophet. Where does he start? This is very important. This part of the prophetic mission, usually it gets ignored. We go straight to the battles. Inshallah, we'll come to them as well. But we want to come right at the beginning. What did Rasulullah do in the beginning, and why did he do this in the beginning? You know, why did he go in this order? There's a wisdom behind it. So right at the beginning of the prophetic mission, what happens? There's a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Invite your relatives. Right? So Rasulullah does da'wah to Ashira, he invites all his relatives. Everyone from Bani Abdul Muttalib, he invites them for a meal. Since Rasulullah started inviting people for meals, up to now we have to invite people for meals to make them listen. Rasulullah invites them for the meal, he says, eat, and then I want to say something. Then Abu Lahab gets up, you know the story, I don't want to go into the details. Abu Lahab gets up and says, he's a sorcerer, he's a magician, let's go. As they're going, Rasulullah says, tomorrow again. They hear that there's food again, so they come back. The 3 days this happens, then Rasulullah makes the announcement. At this moment in time, Rasulullah didn't make any general announcement to the people. He's just made it to his family members, Bani Abdul Muttalib. Now, I want you to fast forward a little bit and recall that in Mecca, Rasulullah, they used to call him what? Before the announcement of prophethood, they used to call him Sadiq and Amin. They used to call him Sadiq and Amin. This is before the announcement of prophet. They don't know he's a prophet. They say he's Sadiq and Amin. What do they mean? They say, oh Muhammad, we never heard you tell a lie. Everything you say, everything that comes out of your mouth is truth. We never heard you tell a lie. And whenever we entrusted you with something, you never violated our trust. These two characteristics, they said we're willing to testify for Rasulullah over these two characteristics. Not just before the announcement of prophethood, even after the announcement of prophethood, they still said, we never heard you tell a lie. We don't believe in your message. We won't believe that God exists. We won't leave our idols. We won't believe that you're the prophet. But we've never heard you tell a lie. And even up to the time Rasulullah leaves Mecca to go to Medina, people are leaving amanat with the Prophet. Because they say he's the most trustworthy person that we know. Now when he makes the announcement of prophethood, these same people who were yesterday saying that he is Sadiq and Amin, and they still say he's Sadiq and Amin. Now what do they say? They say he's a magician. They say he's a sorcerer. They say, Aliyadu Billah, he's a madman. Right? They say all of these things, but there's one thing they don't say. And it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Why? Because this one thing that they should say, everybody says it to everybody else who preaches. Everyone. To every single person. Which is what? Which is that every time somebody stands up to preach, somebody will turn around and say to him, "You standing up and preaching to us, go and check out your family members. Go and see your people in your own family, and then come and talk to us. First fix your own family, first fix your own relatives, and then you can come and preach to us." Right? But this sentence and this statement and this objection, they don't make on Rasulullah. They call him a madman. They call him a sorcerer. They call him a magician. But they don't say at any point that go and check your family members. Right? Why not? They know that if we say, go and check your family members, Rasulullah will say, here are my family members. Here are my family. Here is Ali. He is my masterpiece. Here is Zahra. She is my masterpiece. And Rasulullah is saying, through his action, that this is the way to preach the message of Islam. And this is the way to establish justice in society, that you have to make your family members masterpieces in society. So that they can accuse you of being a madman, and they can accuse you of being a sorcerer, and they can accuse you of bringing a new religion, and they can accuse you of abusing their idols, but they can't say that people in your own family, go and fix them. Because I already made them into masterpieces. And now, this is the challenge for you and I. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't ask you and I to believe in one person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also ordered you and I to believe in a family. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also ordered you and I to believe and follow and adhere to a family. To tell us that as far as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is concerned, the most sacred institution is that of family. The most important institution is that of family. And today, especially in this part of the world where we are, family is under threat. From different angles. In fact, from all sides, we are surrounded by agendas which want to try and end family. By all kinds of different agendas which want to try and end family. So in that scenario, emphasizing the family is even more important. And we have got the best example because we are ordered to follow the best family, which is the family of the Holy Prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we ordered you to follow the family of the Holy Prophet, the Al of Holy Prophet of Islam, so that you know how to build a family and how important it is to build family. And this family of the Holy Prophet of Islam is so important that whenever religion of Islam is in need, this family of the Holy Prophet will come. This family of the Holy Prophet of Islam will come to defend the religion of Islam. So we introduce these members of the family. And Rasulullah said that these are my masterpieces. Now challenge is on me that can I fix my family and make them into masterpieces. In order to do that, yesterday we mentioned that there is equality, which is giving everybody the same. And there is equity, which is giving everyone in accordance with their position. And that might mean that somebody gets more and somebody gets less. Right? But in accordance with their position, in accordance with their responsibility, in accordance with their rights. So, therefore, the most important challenge in our lives regarding this, we have a hadith from Imam Amirul Mu'minin Imam alayhi salam says there's one thing in life which is guaranteed, and everybody is running after it. And there's one thing which isn't guaranteed, but nobody's running after it. Imam alayhi salam says that your rizq, your sustenance is guaranteed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guaranteed your rizq. But everyone's running after it. We're all running after it. And he says, but your akhirat, your aqibat, what's going to happen to you in the hereafter is not guaranteed. But nobody is concerned about it. Whereas it should have been the opposite. When something is guaranteed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I should be unconcerned about it. And that which He wants me to be concerned about, which is hereafter, that I should be running after, but I'm doing the opposite. I'm running after that which is already guaranteed. Imam alayhi salam says, no matter how much you run after it, what is guaranteed will reach you. Yes, that doesn't mean that I should sit at home and not go and find my rizq. But no, I shouldn't run after it. I shouldn't devote my whole life to take over that, whereas it's overtaking my responsibility for akhirat, for what I need to do for akhirat. And like we said, this action that I'm going to do in my life, this justice that I'm going to establish in my life, is going to give me benefit in this life and also in akhirat. Same action. Imagine that we do things, or we initiate actions, they only have one benefit. That benefit is in the dunya. Whatever I do, whatever I make, it's going to only benefit me in dunya. Human beings created so many machines. There's a machine for everything. But every single machine is only for dunya. There's no machine which is going to help me in akhirat. There's no machine which can help me after I die. Once I die, that's it. Every single machine, no matter how good it is, no matter how amazing it is, it's only going to benefit me as long as I'm in this life. There's no machine for akhirat. There's no machine for the hereafter. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, look, if you do righteous deeds, establish justice in your life, be good to your family members, it's going to help you in the dunya. And that same action is going to help you in the akhirat as well. Same action. I don't need to do one action for dunya, one action for akhirat. I don't need to do one action for this life and one action for the next. No, same action. Same thing is going to help me in this life and in the next life. There's no greater, better investment than that. No greater investment than that. So Imam alayhi salatu wasalam is saying that this is what I need to achieve. What is the issue? The issue is we live in a disposable environment. Everything is disposable. Right? We've got this cup. Once you use it, it's going to be disposed. That's it, one use. I have a pen. The pen runs out. The ink runs out. It's disposed. My shoe breaks. I throw it out and buy a new one. Some machine stops working. You tell me it's more expensive to fix this machine. Just throw it out and buy a new one. So we live in a disposable environment. Because of living in this disposable environment, we think that just like things are disposable, people are also disposable. I think that people are also disposable, whereas that's not the case. Why? I think people are disposable. Once their parents are old, put them in the old people home and forget about them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that your responsibility after obedience to me is to your parents. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَنْ لَا تَعْبُدُ إِلَّا إِيَّهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Right after, your Lord has decided that you will not worship anybody other than Him, and you will do ihsan. Usually you translate here ihsan as being good. No. Being good is khair, bir. These words are used in Holy Quran. Ihsan is something else. Ihsan is going above and beyond. That is ihsan. And that's the demand from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you would only worship Him, and wabil walidain ihsan. You will go above and beyond for your parents, no matter how old they are. And then it goes on. If one of them or both of them become old, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. You will not even say uff. Somebody asked Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam about this. That, what is the meaning of uff? Imam says there's no word in Arabic language which is shorter in expression and meaning than this. There's no word which is shorter than this word which has a meaning. There are some, obviously other letters are there which have no meaning. But in terms of meaning, this is the shortest word in the language. So Imam alayhi salam says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that not even that word which is the shortest, even that's not acceptable. That's regarding the parents. Then regarding the children, there's responsibility as well. Where do we go wrong with? We said divine justice has to be established in our society. Where do we go wrong? We go wrong if somebody has a son, they go around, distribute mithai everyone. I had a son. But if that person has a daughter, they're not happy. Why? No, you didn't have a son. Next time it will be a son. What do you mean next time it will be a son? And when there's a son and a daughter in the house, we treat them differently. We treat the laws of Sharia are the same for boys and girls. What's wrong for the girl is also wrong for the boy. What's right for the girl is also right for the boy. But we treat them differently. And when we do that, we're enabling injustice in our own lives. Not just in their lives, in our own lives. And that comes back to hurt us in our lives. Why? Because girls grow up to be responsible and boys grow up to be irresponsible. And who's responsible for that? I'm responsible. The one who enacted different behaviors with the girls and the boys. I'm responsible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say that you treat the girls differently to how you treat the boys. No. And just to prove that point, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that we gave Rasulullah sons. Imagine, today, if somebody wants a son, they would pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the sake of Rasulullah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him sons. If somebody doesn't have a son and they want a son and they pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the sake of Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him a son. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His infinite wisdom gives sons to Rasulullah and then He takes them back. And He makes sure that the progeny of Rasulullah continues through his daughter. In a time where there is no value for women. Yes, we talk about those times in the past that in that time there was no value for women. What about today? Manifestation of that devaluing is different. But I can't say that we've progressed from that time to this time. No, the devaluing or the commodity or commodification of women is different. It's more sophisticated. It's more subtle. But it's still there. So I'm responsible. I'm responsible that I treat the children equally. I give them equally. I make sure that the rules apply to them equally so that they know that they are equally responsible when they grow up. Otherwise, we're creating people who are one gender of society is responsible, the other gender is irresponsible. and that will create more problems for our own society as we go further on. Therefore, it's imperative for every person who goes into a relationship, gets married, to know their responsibility, to know their rights, for each person, husband and wife, to know their responsibilities, know their rights. And to then know that once you bring somebody into this world, you also have responsibilities. And when I'm bringing someone into this world, I have to acknowledge that I have to fulfill that responsibility towards that person. That is a responsibility. I'll be questioned on the Day of Judgment for that. That you brought this human being into the world, what did you do to fulfill your responsibility towards them? Last example, and then we'll conclude. That how does a person reach that point of fulfilling that responsibility? One example from the past, and then one from Karbala, and then we conclude. Ibrahim alayhi salam sees a dream. Last month you celebrated the Eid. Ibrahim alayhi salam sees the dream. And he sees it on 2 consecutive nights. When he sees it the second time, he comes and discusses it with Ismail alayhi salam. And he says, what do you think? Just stop there. Ibrahim alayhi salam, according to some narratives, over 100 years old. Ismail alayhi salam, 13 years old. And what Ibrahim alayhi salam, Prophet of Allah, Messenger of Allah, Khalil of Allah, all of these titles. Beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ismail alayhi salam, his son, 13 years old, he's saying, what do you think? Yes, Ismail alayhi salam is also a prophet. But this story is telling you and I that the responsibility is that a 13-year-old should be so responsible that his father can come to him for advice and say, what do you think? Rather, what do we do in our societies? We say, oh, you have to study this, and you have to do this, and this is what career path you should have. And you have to take it. And if you don't take it, we'll do this to you. Right? Whereas, Ibrahim alayhi salam is saying, what do you think? We think that is haram for the parents to ask their children, what do you think? No chance. Whereas Ibrahim alayhi salam, who is the Prophet of Allah, is saying to Ismail, what do you think? Imagine. That is the responsibility to establish justice in that person's life, that I can be confident to go and consult that person. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see. That's the ideal just society that's going to start from the house. Establishing justice is not outside the house. Establishing justice starts from inside the house. How do I behave with the people who are closest to me, who I'm responsible for? Am I being just with them or not? And if I'm being just, if everybody's being just with their own family members, then what do you know? We'll have a just society. Why? Because all of these people, society is not abstract. All of these people together makes up society. If everyone is just with their own family members, then society will become just. We can't say, I can't decry and say, oh, society is very bad. Well, I'm part of that society. What am I doing to fix that society? What am I doing to fix that society? And in order to fix society, Imam Husaynia alayhi salatu wasalam rises. إنما خرجت لطلب الإصلاح في أمة جدي. I have left my home of 57 years to fix society. But I also made sure that my family are fixed first. Everybody who's with me are the best people. Everyone. Without exaggeration, everyone on the day of Ashura are people who are the best of people. Imagine that on the journey to Karbala, Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam tells people, he stops, there's narratives that he stops in 14 different occasions and he gives sermons. He stops in other places as well, but he doesn't give. In 14 occasions he gives sermons. Short and long and so on and so forth. But he gives sermons. In each of them he tells the people that if you think this is going to be a battle where people are going to fight and then there's going to be lots of ghanimat, there's going to be none of that. This is the battle where you're going to have to give something. So if you're ready to give, then you can come with me. And people start abandoning Imam Hussain alayhi salam throughout the journey. Some people leave him at Makkah, and some people leave him between Makkah and Kufa. And Imam keep continually telling them that if you think this is the battle where you're going to get something, then don't be in any false pretexts that you're going to get something. No, you're going to have to give something. So imagine, in such a scenario, if there's somebody whom Imam Hussain alayhi salam calls to Karbala, how grand must that individual be who gets an invite to Karbala? Sometimes we say that I'll only go to Karbala if I get an invite to Karbala. There's only one person who got an invite to Karbala, and he's Habib ibn Madah al-Asadi. Only one person. How did he get an invite? Every day there's news that people are building up in Karbala. Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayha, every time somebody comes, she asks, who has come? So she's told that today Hormala has come with his contingent of the army. Today Khuli has come with his contingent of the army. Today Umar ibn Sa'd has come with his contingent of the army. So on the 6th of Muharram, she comes into the tent of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And she asks, she says, oh my brother Hussain, every day we hear that on the other side people are increasing. They're coming with their contingents and joining their forces. Is there nobody on this earth? Imagine, it's a heartbreaking line. Bibi Zainab Salamullah alayha is saying to Imam Hussain alayhi salam, is there no one on God's earth who can come and assist the son of Rasulullah? Imagine. Is there no one on this earth who can come and assist the son of Rasulullah? Imam Hussain alayhi salam says, Zainab, you know that on that side, people who are coming, they're paid. And batil, falsehood, can buy many supporters. But truth only has a few people siding with it. Truth only has few people. So Zainab Salamullah alayha says, why don't you call upon Habib? Now Habib, Allahu Akbar. Sufficient for his fadail to mention that he was a child. He's the same age as Imam Hussain alayhi salam. He was a child at the time of Rasulullah. But Rasulullah used to love him more than even the adults. And one person objected, he said, Ya Rasulullah, why do you love Habib so much? And Rasulullah replied, what did he reply? He said, in the streets of Medina, I see Habib walking behind my son Hussain. And wherever he walks, he picks up the dust from beneath his feet and puts it on his head. And somebody who loves my Hussain so much, I will definitely love him. He is Habib ibn Madahir. He is Habib ibn Madahir. Imam Hussain alayhi salam that night writes to Habib. And he writes a really strange letter. What does he say? He says, Min al-Hussain al-Gharib. This is a letter from Hussain who has no home. This is a letter from Hussain who has no home. إلى الرجل الفقيه حبيب ابن مظاهر الأسدي. This is a letter to a man who knows the religion, Habib ibn Madahir. Yabna Rasulullah, you're calling somebody to fight. There's going to be a battle on the day of Ashura. He's saying, I want to tell you that this fight, this battle, is not about conventional fighting. This is a battle to save the Shariat of my grandfather, and we need somebody who knows the Shariat of the Holy Prophet. We need somebody who knows the Shariat of the Holy Prophet Islam, and Habib ibn Madahir is that man. من الحسين القريب إلى الرجل الفقيه حبيب ابن مظاهر الأسدي. He writes in that letter, he says, Habib, you know what my relationship is with Rasulullah. I am in Karbala. If it's possible for you to come, then come to my aid. Allahu Akbar. If it's possible for you to come, come to my aid. The letter carrier takes the letter and he goes to Kufa. He arrives in Kufa, he knocks on the door of Habib. Habib is eating at that time. He calls out, who is it? He says, Ana Baridul Hussein. I am the letter carrier of Hussein. I carry a letter from Hussein. Habib leaves his food. He gets up. He opens the door. The narrative states that he takes the letter and he kisses it. He puts it on his eyes. He puts it on his eyes. He says, this is from my master Hussein alayhi salam. He calls the letter carrier inside. They sit down. He opens the letter. He reads it. He reads the letter and he tells the letter carrier, go. His wife asks, and this is the most key point in this story. His wife asks from behind the curtain. She says, Habib, what is it? What is it? What does it say in the letter? What did Farzand Rasul, what did the son of the Prophet say to you? He says, the son of Rasulullah said, he's in Karbala. If it's possible, come to his aid. Now, the situation in Kufa is such that a brother cannot trust his own brother, a wife cannot trust her husband, a husband cannot trust his wife. So she says to him, she asks him, Habib, what do you want to do? He replies to her, I'm thinking about it. I'm quoting this from the Maqatil verbatim very responsibly. The wife of Habib says to him, woe unto you, that the son of the Prophet, the son of Zahra called you and you're saying you're thinking about it. She throws off her jewelry and she says, Habib, put these on and give me your sword. If you don't want to go, I will go and defend the son of Zahra. If you don't want to go, I will go and defend the son of Zahra. Ajrukumullah. Habib says, I was just testing you and I wanted to find out, what did you think? She says, go. He gets up. He leaves. One narration states that he comes into the bazaar of Kufa and he sees Muslim ibn Awsaja. Muslim ibn Awsaja is one of the oldest companions and one of the oldest shuhada of Karbala. He sees Muslim ibn Awsaja in the marketplace in Kufa. Muslim ibn Awsaja is buying hair dye to dye his beard. Habib says to him, haven't you got the news? He says, what's the news? He says, the news is Hussein alayhi salam has reached Karbala. The narrative states Muslim ibn Awsaja drops the bowl of hair dye and he says, now this beard will be dyed with my own blood. Now this beard will be dyed with my own blood. Habib, there's curfew in Kufa. Nobody can leave, nobody can come in. What does he do? He sends his servant with his horse outside the city of Kufa. And he's waiting for a moment to be able to escape. He sees at the time of Asr, people are still in the masjid, and he leaves the city of Kufa, where his servant is waiting with the horse outside. When he reaches there, he tells his servant, I've set you free, you can go. The servant says, oh my master, you didn't do justice with me. All my life I served you. Now I have a chance to serve the son of Rasulullah. You're telling me to go. Habib and his servant, they go towards Karbala. When they arrive in Karbala, there is a big welcome for Habib. He's the one who Imam Hussain alayhi salam is called. Bibi Zainab salamullah alayha from the other tent hears that there's somebody who's come. She says, find out who is it. She's told that the friend of your brother Habib has come. The friend of your brother Habib has come. So she says, send my salam to Habib. Habib hears this. He takes off his turban. He throws it on the ground. He says, what time has come that the daughter of Rasulullah sends salam to me? Ajrakulillah. One narration mentions that on the morning of Ashura, some of the shuhada, some of the companions of Imam Hussain were killed. And then the time for Dhuhr came. Abu Sammama came to Imam Hussain and he said, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, I think it's the time for prayer. Imam says to Abu Sammama, yes, you're right, it's the time for prayer. He says to Habib, who's the commander of the left side, that go and tell the forces of Yazid to stop the fighting so that we can pray the Dhuhr prayer. Habib goes and says to them, stop the fighting so that we can offer the Dhuhr prayer. Shimr says to Habib that tell Hussein that if he prays it won't be accepted. Allahu Akbar. If he prays, it won't be accepted. At that moment, Habib turns to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. He says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, son of the Prophet, give me permission to go and start the fighting. Habib goes towards him and he says, do you think that your prayer will be accepted and the prayer of the son of the Holy Prophet will not be accepted? One narration mentions that he starts the fighting there and he's killed before the Dhuhr prayer. When he falls from the horse, Muslim ibn al-Sajjah and Imam Hussain alayhi salam come. Imam Hussain alayhi salam comes to him. He puts his head in his lap. How fortunate is every single shaheed in Karbala that he has his head is in the lap of the son of Zahra salamullah alayha. Day of Ashura passes. The women and children get arrested, tied in ropes, and they're brought towards Kufa. When they come to Kufa, one of the sons of Habib is in Kufa. He comes and he inquires that who is it that killed my father? Who is it that killed my father? He's told this such and such person killed your father Habib. He executes that person and he takes the head of Habib with him and he goes saying that whosoever's inheritor is alive is the one who doesn't rest without taking revenge. That person doesn't rest without taking revenge. I don't know how Imam Sajjad alayhi salam heard this statement. He would have looked up to the head of his father and said, your son is alive. Your son is alive, but he can't take revenge because it's the order from you. Your blood will remain unavenged until Yusuf al-Zahra will come and avenge the blood. ألا ولعنة الله للقوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أيّ منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.